of images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban of the participant, the amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committee in event of repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities will be summoned. Everyone beside the speaker or presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raised hand button on the screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. All right, I'll skip down because members of the public do not usually speak at the exec meeting unless we give them permission. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting, granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussion after each presentation and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions related to meeting software or to our process, please use the chat function or raised hand function now or contact the deputy district manager. Okay, we will move on to attendance. Okay. Right. Barbara Stronzer is present. Eric Asensio.
Eric Asensio is present.
Thank you. Betty Arce.
Betty Arce present.
Okay, thank you. Yahira Arias.
Shahira Arias present.
Okay. Michelle Avila.
No, Avila present.
Thank you. Andrew Leosa.
Andrew Leosa present.
Thank you. Luis Acosta. Luis. Edgar Ramos.
Edgar Ramos present.
Thank you. Chad Royer.
Chad Royer present.
Thank you. Victor Saldana. Victor. All right. Ruth Caraballo. Ruth. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We do have a quorum. Okay. All right. The minutes are not ready for tonight, so we are going to postpone the minutes from last month's meeting, and we'll do that next month. All right. District manager's update. Yahira, are you ready? Oh, I'm sorry. You're the
It's
chair.
okay.
It's okay. The district manager is giving a report or not. Carla, are you?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I'll just very quickly say there's not many updates. We have the deadline to apply for the Yankees Award is tomorrow at noon. And Bronx Week Parade is on May 21st. And it's not happening in the district anymore. This time it will happen on the Grand Concourse at 170th Street. And we will send this information out via our newsletter as well. And we have a lot of community board events for the community, including a flagging event on May 13th, our Veterans Resource Fair on June 3rd, and our annual resource fair the last week of June. And that is it for my updates.
Okay, Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the chairperson's update. Yahira, go ahead.
I
There's
have a
not much
Question,
to,
Martin.
Oh, sorry. Andrew has a question for you, Carla. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah. I think it's a big deal. I mean, I remember for a very long time that the Bronx Parade was always held on Marshall Parkway. It was a chance for Bronx Community Board 7 to, show our presence and show off our wonderful parkway. And I'm just curious who made that decision, when it was made, and why it was made.
Carla,
So I don't know when it was, when that decision was made. It came out of the borough president's office. All I can speculate is that it is the borough president's old city council district, and that may be the reason why it has moved to be over there. And then just, a lot of things change. Things don't remain the same. I do know I have been at that parade since I was at Lehman College. So it was also strange to me, the fact that it was that the location changed to be on the Grand Concourse. And we can inquire to the borough with the borough president's office to find out why that change happened and relay that information back to all of you.
okay. I think it's nice that the parade now will be longer, because I know on Marshall Parkway, it was great. Everybody was out there waiting, but it was such a short distance that they marched. So at least now it's about 8 blocks from what I can gather. And I think that's nice. I mean, it's a big preparation for that. The kids were all excited and all, and to see like 2 blocks along Marshall Parkway, it wasn't enough. So maybe the borough president also is going to move the parade from board to board in the future. Who knows what the plan is? All right. Any other questions before we move on? All right, Yahira, go ahead.
okay, just to add to that, again, we don't make the decision. It came from the borough president's office. We just got the notification as to where it was going to be. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't have a lot of say into what the BP's office decides to do. And we just listen to what they say and just try to abide by the rules, right?
Right.
The only thing on my report is there was an email sent out by the BP's office as to parliamentary procedures and training. I just would like to remind everyone to sign up and take them. They're important. There's a couple of days coming up in the 25th of April, the 27th, May 16, and May 31st. They're on Zoom. I just, for all the board members to at least get one of these trainings in, and they are very helpful and very insightful. And it's one of the ways that the BP's office and the city is trying to make everybody aware as to community board procedures and how we function. So
Okay.
I just would like everybody, all the members, to at least take one meeting. That
Okay.
is all for me.
Could the dates be sent out to the board again?
Yes, we can have that done. No
Please.
problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll move on. Motions. Are we going to go with the first motion that's listed on the agenda from the ad hoc screening committee?
Yes.
Okay, so then you are on, Michelle.
Sure. Thanks, Barbara. So there is a motion on the table to hire Carla Carrera for the position of district manager for Bronx Community Board 7 at a salary of $96,000. Some background. Actually, Barbara, if I could, I'd like to just go through a few slides to talk about how we came here and what this process was like, if that would be okay with you.
Go right ahead.
Okay, awesome. Jade, can I share screen, please?
Yes. Do you see the share screen or no?
It says hold participant screen for me.
We lost your voice.
Hello, Michelle?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I
No.
can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
That's better.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, I do. Okay, perfect. Okay, so before we go into the justification for the motion, which board members should have as part of their email packet, I wanted to talk about the work of the ad hoc district manager screening committee and what we've done over the past several months. I want to give a really big thank you to the entire committee for their work, their dedication, and their integrity. I also want to give a really big thank you to Jade Guzman for all of the labor that she put into this process. And so the information that I will share here is information that we have all received various times throughout the past couple of months, but I want folks to be clear on how we arrived here. So as shared in previous emails, this is an overview of the process of how the district manager screening committee operated. So the process began with the chair selecting the screening committee. Once the screening committee was selected, it had to be provided training by the borough president's office on interview questions, what can and cannot be asked based on EEO practices and the job description. The screening committee was then charged with meeting to adopt the job description and interview questions, which had borough president review. The screening committee then sent the job posting to the VP's office so that they could post it on the New York City website. The job posting was live for at least 30 days. Resumes were not collected by email. They had to be collected through the portal. All applicants had to upload resumes and cover letters onto this website. And then after the 30 days, the screening committee was charged to meet to review resumes and select candidates to interview. So once the screening committee narrowed it down, the candidate and the recommendation comes here to the executive board for a vote and for the opportunity to ask the candidate questions. Then a vote and a presentation and vote then follows at the general board meeting, which is scheduled for next Tuesday. And all of the screening committee meetings were posted on the calendar. However, when the committee met to discuss personnel, which this is a personnel matter, we went into executive session. Board members were able to attend, but not vote on any matters. And just want to highlight that all materials and names shared at the meeting were confidential, and all documents were collected by staff at the end of the meeting. And violating confidentiality would result in being reported to the Budget, Personnel, and Ethics Committee meeting, and gives the VP's office grounds for removal. And so this is just a timeline for the executive committee of the process that the ad hoc district manager screening committee took. So December 2022, the chair named the ad hoc committee members. We were originally 5 members, and unfortunately, 1 member had to step down due to time constraints, and commitments. The committee continued the work in December and January by creating and posting the job description in partnership with the borough president's office. We also created interview questions. February through March, we received some training from the borough president's office, screened over 40 interviews that were had personal information, so name, email, contact blacked out. All we could see were the resumes. We conducted 6 in-person interviews and then conducted 3 second-round interviews with finalist candidates. In April, we had a public meeting where we selected a candidate to move forward. We are working and continue to work with the VP's office to extend the offer. Today, we are here presenting the candidate to the executive committee for a vote, and then we will do the same on April 25th at the general board meeting. And I can share these slides with the executive committee and plan to do the same presentation at the general board meeting, but just really wanted to be transparent about the process and have these FAQs up in terms of what could be done, what couldn't be done, and the process that we undertook. So with that, I will continue reading the motion. And so The recommended action is to hire Carla Cabrera Carrera for the position of Bronx Community Board 7 District Manager at a salary of $96,000. The ad hoc district manager screening committee screened over 40 applicants, held 6 in-person interviews and 3 final candidate interviews in selecting the recommended candidate for Bronx CV7 district manager. The rationale for the recommendation, the committee determined that Ms. Carla Cabrera Carrera was the best candidate for the district manager position based on work experience, qualifications, and the vision shared for Bronx Community Board 7. Ms. Cabrera Carrera presented a deep understanding of the needs of Community Board 7, both internally as a board and externally in service to the larger community. Ms. Cabrera Carrera is well acquainted with the duties of district manager position and has the experience that aligns with the position. Ms. Cabrera Carrera highlighted the importance of the board's role in elevating quality of life issues on behalf of the larger community and offered a vision of taking a more active role in offering policy recommendations through things like the district needs assessment and capital and expense budget requests. Ms. Cabrera Carrera accurately relayed the most pressing needs and projects within Bronx Community Board 7 and offered ideas on how those needs could be addressed in the short term and what could be worked on over time. Ms. Cabrera Carrera articulated a vision to engage more members of the public in the community board's work and listed the ways in which the district manager and board can broaden outreach and engagement. And so I ask the committee tonight to take action on this motion.
Okay. All right, do we have a second for Michelle's motion?
I second, Betty.
Betty, okay, thank you. All right, Andrew, is that your hand there? It's raised. Do you have a question?
Well, I would make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the personnel matter.
All right, do we have a second for that motion to go into executive session?
I second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor of going into executive session?
Aye.
Give me 2 minutes to make a breakout room.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
We need music during these moments.
Can anyone sing?
I'll try.
Barbara, no.
No? Not me.
If you have something on your screen that says to join the breakout room, please click on it.
Oh, joy.
All right, I believe Michelle had given us a motion. Do you want to repeat the motion, Michelle, please? We'll get a second. You can't, go ahead.
You hear me?
Yeah,
So
now we can.
motion to hire Carla Cabrera Carrera for the position of Bronx Community Board 7 District Manager at a salary of $96,000.
Okay, and the second to that motion, did we have one? I believe so. Okay,
Second, yeah.
thank you. All right, any questions or comments anyone would like to raise before we take a vote? Okay, so we will take the vote then. All right. Barbara Stronza votes yes on the motion. Eric Asensio,
Erica still votes yes.
thank you. Betty Arce,
I vote yes on the motion.
thank you. Jahira Arias,
Jahira Arias votes yes on the motion.
thank you. Michelle Avila,
Michelle Avila votes yes on the motion.
thank you. Andrew Laosa,
Andrew Laosa supports the motion.
thank you. Luis Acosta,
Lauris Acosta votes yes.
thank you. Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos supports the motion.
thank you. Chad Royer,
Chad Royer, I'll vote at the general meeting.
you're
I'll
abstaining?
yeah.
Okay. All right, did Victor come in? No. Ruth, did she come in?
No.
No, okay. All right, the motion carries.
Thanks, everyone. A big thank you to Jade again for being our Sherpa through this process, and to the ad hoc screening committee. Thank you so much for all of your hours and time and dedication to this process. Very
Okay.
grateful.
All right, we'll move the agenda then to the motion from the Parks Committee. If you give me a minute, I'll get it up on the screen. All right, we received a request from Armando Ramos, better known as AJ, regarding a pride flag during the month of June to be posted. The committee recommends the raising of a pride flag during the month of June somewhere in Bronx Community Board 7's district. As far as the background, a pioneer for the LGBTQ rights, Ronald Jacobowitz lived within our community board. A secondary street renaming was done in his honor on Kossuth and Marshall Parkway North. And in honor of Ronald and others who have worked for the LGBTQ rights, it is fitting to honor them during Pride Month. All right, Mr. Jacobowitz lived and worked in our board area. It is also appropriate to honor our fellow citizens and neighbors who may be part of the LGBT community. The flag will be raised during the month of June. We need, as a prior action, we need to first purchase a pride flag and then locate a site and obtain permission from the agency involved. All right, do we have any questions? Can I have a second on that motion?
I second.
Thank you, Betty. All right, any questions? Okay. I see,
Just out of curiosity, is anybody priced out?
is anybody what?
Priced out what needs to be purchased?
Oh, no, not yet. it would be a flag. I don't think it
You
would
would
be.
think that would, I mean, that would have, you would think it would have been researched when the presentation was made. I would think.
Oh,
But
no, I don't think anybody has priced out a flag as yet, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be that expensive for our board. All right, Mr. AJ, we'll give you a minute. Your hand is up, and it is AJ who asked for this, so we'll let him say something. Go ahead, AJ.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I was never given the logistics of the size of the flag at the Marshall Victory Memorial. That's where I requested it be put. I kind of don't want it anywhere else. Bronx Victory means a lot of things to a lot of people, and I think this is the perfect spot. We're not here to beg for scraps. We're here to have our public servants serve us. If I would have been provided the size of this flagpole's flag, I would have researched it. I've offered to even buy it myself. As this is the second year the board is under budget and the third pride I am asking for this, I don't see why that wouldn't be a problem. Thank you so much.
Okay, just to give you some of the rationale, it was felt that the monument on Marshalloo is a monument that was put up many years ago to honor those who fought in our wars and were killed as soldiers or sailors or whatever. And we felt it wouldn't be fitting because of the fact that if we said yes to one group, we would be receiving many requests from other groups to raise their flag at that site. And we felt it would take away from the purpose of the war memorial. So we're not opposed.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, sorry.
All right, let me finish,
That-
please. We're
yes,
not opposed to purchasing a flag and finding a site. That was our position as a board, to raise it during the month of June. All right, any questions or comments that anybody would like?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. I specifically in my slides referenced don't ask, don't tell, where service members were kicked out from being LGBT or loving people. I also referenced Bronx veterans. There was ultra sensitivity with this location, and that's why I believe it should be there. I would prefer the board vote up or down on this. If not, we don't want it anywhere else. Thank you.
Okay, all right. If there are no other questions, we will take this to a vote.
Well, wait a minute. I don't know, Barbara, before
Yeah.
you continue, I support the motion for the flag, but I also think that its location is important, and I support that it be at the memorial. That's my position on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, then you'll express your position when we take the vote. Any other comments before we move on?
So we're still voting on the motion as
We're
presented.
voting on the motion to purchase the flag and to fly the flag somewhere in Community Board 7 during the month of June. That's the motion.
All
All
right.
right,
Thank you
So-
for the clarification.
okay. All right, Barbara Stronza supports the motion. Eric Asensio,
Erica Senses supports the motion.
thank you. Betty Arce,
I support the motion.
thank you. Jahira Arias,
Ira supports the motion.
thank you. Michelle Avila,
Michelle Avila supports the motion.
thank you. Andrew Laosa,
Andrew Laosa supports the motion.
thank you. Luis Acosta,
Lauris Acosta votes yes.
thank you. Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos abstains.
okay. Chad Royer,
Chad Roy votes yes.
thank you. Victor Saldana, has he come in? And Ruth Caraballo. All right, the motion carries. Thank you. All right, we'll move to the agenda. New business. We have someone from the New York City Mural Arts Project with us tonight.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Ryan. Welcome. All right, go ahead. You're on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to present at tonight's community board. Thank you especially to Carla and Jade for inviting me tonight and being in touch over email as our mural project has developed in your district.
Oh,
I'm going to try to share my screen.
okay. Jade, if you could work that out, please.
Can everyone see this okay?
Yes.
Yes. Oh.
Great.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
So the New York City Mural Arts Project is a mental health advocacy initiative that uses the traditions of community mural making as a tool to destigmatize mental illness. If you don't know, 1 in 5 New Yorkers, at least 1 in 5, report experiencing a mental health condition in any given year. Despite how common it is to work through mental health conditions, the stigma surrounding mental illness, and when I say mental illness, I want to be specific, major depression, bipolar disorder, certain personality disorders, and schizophrenia are still quite stigmatized. The New York City's Department of Mental Hygiene, specifically the Office of Rehabilitation, has determined that it takes around, on average, 8 years for someone to receive a mental health diagnosis and then go receive treatment for that if they ever do. One of the best ways to reduce stigma that we found is actually to bring folks who occupy different positions on the mental health spectrum. So folks with mental illness, folks who do not live with a mental health condition, to bring those folks together in a space and share dialogue, share their recovery stories, share maybe their inherited biases about mental illness, and have a conversation. So in that way, we use the mural, the making of a community large-scale exterior mural, as a vehicle to have really important conversations about mental health and healing. The program was founded, like I said, by the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene in 2016, who ran that program until 2020. The program was then put up for contract, and a really wonderful nonprofit called Brooklyn Community Services was awarded it, who I'm representing tonight. Just because the program now belongs to Brooklyn Community Services, we're obviously allowed to partner with mental health service providers throughout all 5 boroughs, which brings us to the community in the Bronx tonight. We tend to work through 3 phases whenever we make a community mural project: discover, design, and deploy. In the discover phase, our work is about determining the mural theme. We then take those ideas, what we want to say to the community about mental health, into the design phase, where pretty obviously our goal is to determine the mural design. Lastly, we go into deploy phase, which we were just about to enter, where we actually install the mural in a community wall. Throughout these 3 phases, we do public programs where we invite the community at large to participate in the mural making process, and also use those community programs as a way to engage in dialogue about mental health. I want to get into more specifics about this program. This was all just context and background for how we traditionally work. It's a pretty robust team. The first thing that roots us in any neighborhood, so what brought us to Community Board 7's district, is the mental health service provider. We do that through an RFQ process. That's how we select them. We put out an RFQ for all mental health service providers. These are either nonprofit programs or government entities, to apply to partner with us. So the one we're working with in Community Board 7's district is called Homeward NYC. It's an LGBT housing program for formerly houseless, LGBT young adults living with mental illness and substance abuse disorders. Every week, an artist, a New York City-based artist, and a peer specialist. If you don't know what a peer specialist is, it's someone who lives with mental illness who's been trained to lead groups with other folks who live with mental illness. Every week, they go to our mental health service provider partner site and lead art workshops with those members. This process is twofold. One, it's to really develop that mural theme and mural design, as I was speaking about earlier, but really it's a way to use art to combat internalized stigma. So public stigma is a set of beliefs or ideas that are usually mythic and violent that are surrounding a marginalized group. Internalized stigma is believing that those narratives are true about yourself. Throughout this process, it's pretty organic. We find community partners where we host our public programs, we find a wall owner. And again, our main mission is to use the mural to bring these two groups together in a safe space to have dialogue and share their experience. So like I said, our partner this year, this is actually our team, our lead artist and at one of our weekly art workshops, which began in November of 2022, is called Homeward NYC. We've conducted 4 community programs so far. One was at PS8 Isaac Varian School. That was made in collaboration with the Montefiore Mental Health School Program, where we met with kids and their parents and talked about mental health and made art and really helped generate ideas for our mural theme. We then had our last 3 programs at the Moshlu Montefiore Community Center, where we also further developed the design, had conversations. And really these community programs are ways to let the community know that an institution like Homeward NYC is in their neighborhood. So if someone needs help, they can find it. And it's also a way for everyone to participate in a public artwork and know that we support mental health, that this organization is here, that you are seen, and that you are welcomed. We're hoping to, I want to speak about our partnership, hopefully that we can have with the community board in a little bit. And then lastly, of course, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene are our major partners as well. So like I said, we began this work in November. Each week, we've been working with the residents of Homeward NYC to develop the mural. And we're now at the stage where we've had most of our community engagement events at PS8 and the Moshlu Montefiore Community Center, where hundreds of folks from the neighborhood have come out to participate in the mural making design and what they kind of want to see reflected. Through this process, we determined that actually the MMCC, that community center where we've been holding the programs, is also our wall partner. So we're able to actually put the mural we've been making with that community on the wall that it's been kind of built at, which is very exciting. I'd like to formally introduce this person to talk a bit about our lead artist, Paul Dio, who's a New York City-based muralist, an artist, and educator, who has a pretty diverse practice across mediums and really decades working in New York throughout various communities. You might know a work that he made in Harlem called Planet Harlem that features kind of wonderful Harlem legends. But again, his practice and his kind of expertise in making community projects that are kind of traversing difficult subjects is really seen throughout his career. Most recently with his artist residency at Harvard University. So without further ado, I would like to actually present our mural design for the community board's feedback. It's called Collective Prayer for the New You. This down here on the bottom, we have a path that's leading up to an actual real mural. Mirror, excuse me, we're going to install a mirror on the side of the wall so that when you look through the mirror, you should see yourself in kind of this magical dreamscape. The idea behind this mural design, and this is coming from the residents of Homeward NYC and our artist, is that it's challenging to recover from a mental illness. We don't want to scapegoat. We don't want to deny the very real difficulties of survival and thrival. But if you can imagine yourself, again, this idea with this mirror, looking into your future and really see your best self with a community that supports you in a safe space, you can recover. So we kind of wanted to depict an almost a world that's not yet here, where everyone is free, everyone is welcome, and everyone feels safe and healed through a very vibrant, colorful, and accessible mural. And this is the wall that we hope to install the piece on. In June, I should say. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Question for you, Ryan. Will you be staying in the community beyond this year?
It really depends. We're contracted every fiscal year. So in July, we release our next set of RFQs for mental health service providers to partner with. And it really just depends on who applies.
Okay.
I hope to, though. It's been amazing.
Thank you for your presentation. Do we have any questions for Ryan? All right, Edgar, go ahead.
How you doing? The concept, it looks very nice. I'm just wondering, as far as the part of the mural where you say there's going to be a mirror.
Yes.
Is that going to be ADA compliant, or will there be a method possibly to make it ADA compliant for those? Because you know those that are going through life with issues of ADA compliancy have gone through a lot of that. What the mural represents.
Mr. Ramos, thank you so much for that question. This is part of the reason why I'm here to present this mural. I will make sure that I don't have an answer, unfortunately, tonight, but that is something that is critical and that I will find an answer and report back to this community board with.
Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? Eric?
Thank you, Barbara. This is a great mural. I really like in the way that is positioned into this building. So is the mural gonna be accessible only during certain hours? I see there's a lot of gates in this end where the location is.
It's a good eye. There is a lot of gates. And another really great question. We are working with MMCC in real time to open up. I don't know if you can see it because the mural's kind of covering it, but there's these set of stairs at the bottom here. To actually transform this space more into a community garden with a bench, so that folks can sit underneath it and feel kind of a new energy. So that is, again, another answer that I'm working in real time to determine. Our intention is, yes, to make it very accessible to the public.
All right. Chad?
Yes, hi, good evening. I love it. It's lovely. But I have to ask you, is there anything put in place that could protect the mural from graffiti or deliberate damage or wear and tear? Just wondering.
Thank you so much for that question. Yes. So if you're not familiar with mural making, we don't paint directly on the walls. We paint on something called polytab panels. They're like a very thin canvas, papery material.
Canvas.
Yeah, they're super durable and very flexible. And we actually outline the mural on these polytab panels, and we kind of think paint by numbers. We assign each number a color. And through our last community engagement event, which is our paint festival on May 13th at MMCC, we invite the community to actually come paint the polytab panels with us. Those are then, just like wallpaper, essentially adhered to the side of the wall. What that does is it allows us to place an anti-graffiti gel on top of the mural. Someone could still tag this mural, but what the anti-graffiti gel does is it'll hit that, and that's very easy to come off. So it does protect the mural in that way.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
thank you
wonderful.
for that question.
Thank you for that.
All right, Edgar, I see your hand up. Did you have a question?
No, my question was already asked, sorry. We're gonna put
Okay,
it down.
Eric, do you have another question?
I'm sorry, Barbara.
Okay,
I have a question.
oh, okay. Go ahead,
Um,
Larry.
Yeah, so two things. Number one is, how did you guys go about picking the artists? I know in the borough itself, we have a bunch of wonderful artists who are also capable of putting together something that, you know, can speak to a powerful message like that one. And number two, you mentioned you guys are gonna involve the community in painting panels. How exactly are you going about working with the community to do that?
Great, amazing questions. I'll answer both of them. I'll start with the first one. I should have explained this earlier. So we also do an RFQ process for artists throughout New York. Those were launched in August of 2022. And we invite every single muralist in New York City to apply. This year, Dio is based in Harlem. And we just felt like he was the right fit for this project just because our main goal is to always assign an artist from the community. This year, we just didn't get any from this particular neighborhood to apply. And we moved forward with what we thought was our best artist to take on the project. And then for number two, we have our Community Paint Festival. It's on May 13th. It's right around the corner from this mural, actually in MMCC's. We're transforming the parking lot. So that'll be May 13th from 1 to 6 p.m. I can pass along a flyer to that. We will have a DJ from MMCC's community. We'll have food, mental health resources. I would actually really love the opportunity to ask Community Board 7 to table if that was something of interest. We will have a kids corner. We're gonna have a journaling station. And again, a lot of opportunities to literally like paint this mural. We're gonna bring out tons of tables and have paint stations, and the artists and residents of Homeward NYC will be there painting along with the community on that day.
Very good. I see Chad's hand up. Go ahead, Chad. Okay.
No, that was a mistake. My mistake.
Oh, okay, all right. Any other questions? All right,
Barbara?
Andrew and then Betty. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's possible to reach out to the bid. We do have a very active bid, and we could certainly use more wonderful murals like this throughout the district, Jerome Avenue, East Gun Hill Road, 204th Street, Bainbridge, et cetera, et cetera.
Good idea, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. I have a note to reach out to the bid for sure.
Okay, good. Betty, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Ryan, I don't know who's covered. When this work is going on, where will it exactly take place? Where the painting will actually take place?
Great. So it'll be at 3450 DeKalb Avenue.
Oh, right there. Okay. That's indoors? It'll be indoors or outdoors? How's it going to be done?
Yeah, it's all outdoors. So it's just around the corner from this wall. It's actually the entrance will be on Gun Hill Road.
Okay.
But it's completely free, open to the public. You'll hear music from our DJ, and anyone can stop by and will, regardless of artistic ability or age, and be able to contribute and quite literally like paint this mural. Like this will it'll be their paint touching this mural through the panel process.
And when will that take place?
So the Community Paint Festival Day is Saturday, May 13th.
Okay, great.
And then installation is going to be at some point in June of this year.
Right.
All right, thank you so much, Ryan, and it's a lovely painting. And could you be sure to send us a flyer for your both events, May 13th and the one in June?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity again.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move the agenda to new business. We heard from Ryan. I have something listed on the agenda for liquor license procedure. Jade, do we have to go back into executive session?
I'm sorry, Barbara. Can you repeat that?
Under new business and under executive session, you have
Oh, yes.
license procedure. Do we need to go back into exec session, or what is the issue?
Yes, we can go back into executive session.
Okay.
Sorry,
All
this is Carla.
I'll make the breakout room.
Okay, thank you.
And someone needs to make the motion to go
I
into
move
executive
to
session.
take us to executive session.
I second it.
Hold on, wait. Before we go into executive session, we have to say the purpose. So are we going, when we are, to clarify, we are not going into executive session to discuss the actual liquor license applications, correct? Because that does have to be done in public. We're going into executive session for the purpose of, not sure what, to discuss procedure?
Yes, to
someone-
discuss procedure, yes.
Procedure, Andrew.
Okay,
I'm sorry, and that has to be done in executive session?
Well,
I could withdraw the motion and say it again.
No, I don't think it's you, Chad. I just want to know who put this on the agenda.
So this is an item that Barbara wanted to discuss. We want to look at what the procedure is now for handling liquor licenses and any new proposals or new ideas of how they could be handled.
Okay. I think it makes sense to do that in executive session.
I disagree. I think that
I don't understand.
there's nothing sensitive that we are discussing, and if there does come up to something that's sensitive, then it should go into executive session. But a general discussion about procedure, I see no reason why that shouldn't be done in public.
I mean, are we discussing an individual or,
No,
no, right?
Or I'm assuming we're not discussing any individual bar or restaurant. Am I correct in assuming that?
Right, that is correct.
If you want to
But
stay in,
you just never know what might come out of someone's mouth. So I think it's just
Well, you know what,
it's-
we'll have to deal with it. I mean, I don't understand why we would not have this discussion in public. I don't know, I'm confused. I agree with Andrew.
right. So the procedure can be discussed in executive session, and then we can let the public know the outcome of that conversation.
makes sense.
I still disagree. I think, I don't understand what the procedure is because we have to at some point make that public, right? The
Yes,
procedure,
and we will, once we decide on, what the procedure is, and what it's been and what it is for the future.
Carla, is these procedures only adhere to the board itself?
Yes, so each community board has their own individual procedure.
for the issuance of a license, is that what you're talking about?
No, so the issue is right now, the district manager handles the process.
Right.
And I believe it was Barbara's opinion that one of the committees could be involved in handling
Yeah,
the process.
Also,
Mhm.
in our
So-
board, the DM issuing the licenses, that's something that was unique to CB7? Is that what we're?
Well, of late. it
Right, so
was.
we don't issue any licenses. What happens is the forms make it our way, and then we inquire with NYPD and data on 311 to see if we grant or not grant any letters on behalf of the business to support any renewals or any new licenses or any other matter. So that's how the process works now. I believe what Barbara was proposing was that the review could be made at
Through a
the
committee?
Public
In a
Safety and
committee,
Quality of
yeah.
Life Committee meeting.
My point is that there should be more transparency because we live in the neighborhood, and if you happen to be near one of these establishments that keeps you up half the night or whatever, and they're up for a liquor license renewal, certainly board members should know about that. And whatever way you do it is fine with me, but there has to be transparency and should not be something that's decided just by the staff and the police department and as to how many 311 calls come in. All right, we have a couple of hands up. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, just a little background. In the past, there were some problems where in certain community boards, certain board members would walk into a restaurant, a bar, whatever, and inspect and see what's going on and gather information. And maybe innocently, the bar owner or restaurant owner would say, hey, you know, have a beer on me or have a dinner, or come back later and I'll give you a dinner. It's just that there's a suspicion of some kind of undue influence on a decision. So I think the city tried to remove that possibility from taking place. Doesn't mean discussions can't be done in public, but actual like visits and intervention by community board members is greatly discouraged.
Well, I don't think we're encouraging anybody to go into a bar and check it out or whatever, but you still can establish transparency that the board would know when a given license is up for renewal. Okay, Hugo, go ahead.
Hi, I'm curious because when I started on the board, I was on a committee that was assigned to review liquor licenses, and I believe we did that for 1 or 2 bars. And I believe I just heard that the staff or district manager was making the determinations at some point. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I think for years, Hugo, that's the way it went. It went to committee. The committee would decide if there were any neighborhood issues or problems. And of late, I think, you know, we really didn't hear about it. And I think it's important.
Yes,
If
I
you live in a
agree.
given neighborhood and you happen to live near some of these establishments.
That sounds like a policy change. When was that policy change?
I have no idea. That's why I brought it up.
Okay, yes, okay, thank you for bringing it up, because
What committee were you on?
at that time it was economic development and something else. I just remember the economic development part.
Right.
I think it makes sense.
And what year was this, Hugo?
I started 2018. That's the earliest I've been here. It was economic development, which got folded into
Housing, I believe.
Housing.
yes, housing and land use.
Okay. All right, Edgar, you have your hand up.
You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. As Hugo stated, I remember a while back there was situations where certain licenses, the information was brought to the board. Some because of nuisance, others just informational. But I thought maybe during the pandemic that may have changed as far as the procedure, because that's kind of when everything kind of disappeared in as far as the access with the community board. But I do remember, as Hugo, at some point that there were a couple of establishments where when the license renewal was up, they did, there was information brought to us as a board.
Yes, there was much more transparency than there seems to be now. All right. Carla, would you suggest any way we can handle this in the future, maybe sending it to a committee as opposed to it going just to staff?
Right, so the staff will still be the recipient of this letter. So what we can
Right.
do is provide a list of new applications that we get, whether that is renewals or new applications or removals or any class changes or any alterations that are done to the liquor licenses. And in terms of the venue, I'm not sure if you would like this to be handled at a committee or a combination of committees, or if this is something that can be shared during the district manager's updates and get feedback that way.
My feeling is
Whichever way is fine by me.
it should go to a committee. That's my personal opinion. Well, how do the others feel? Eric Asensio, go ahead.
I would say it could come to this committee,
Mhm.
right, where we all committees or chairs are present. If more information needs to be distributed, then it could go to the Economic Development Committee. I guess in my experience, when I have attended community board meetings in other boards, the liquor licenses and sidewalk cafes and all these things that get, because don't liquor licenses need to publish ads in the newspaper, right? In the local newspaper as well?
No, I haven't seen that of late.
No, they don't.
No.
They do not, okay. So I have always seen that discussed in the general board meeting and voted on. But I don't know, I didn't know that that was not the case in this board.
All right, Hugo, your hand is up again. Go ahead.
I remember at the time in 2018 when my committee was folded into land use and stuff, I did try looking around, but it's been several years. And one thing I was trying to look at was the community boards, which had a lot more liquor licenses, such as Greenwich Village's community board and Downtown Brooklyn's community board, to see what procedures they had. They definitely had all sorts of forms that they will ask everybody who's has a liquor license renewal or new applicant to please fill out. I believe it included language that stated that, hey, the community board is just an advisory board. We don't grant you the license or whatever. And I believe that the procedures in some of the other community boards that I saw was that they had in committees. I believe Community Board Manhattan 4 has it as a separate committee.
Mhm.
But in any event, I think some of the other community boards have it as being sent to a committee. The committee, like anything else, looks through it, and then it sends it to the general board for final approval,
Mhm. Yeah.
which seems to be
Betty?
the most transparent thing to do.
Okay, thank you, Hugo. Betty, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that we're having this discussion and some of the issues that Carla raised about process, I think those are things that we need to really have that discussion. Very clearly, the community board is responsible for this, how we do it, and it's really, from what I understand, we have the authority to come up with our own process, but I think that we need to make the decision as a board what that process is. Carla presented some options, whether it's done through a district manager's report or something more formalized to a committee that then, that the staff takes to a committee and then comes back to us for some kind of action. So I think we need to have that discussion a little further and kind of flesh that out a little more.
Okay, Eric, your hand is up. do you have another comment?
No, Barbara, sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, here we are. Do we want, as the executive committee, to take a vote on how we're going to do this? Or do you want more time to discuss it or have a committee discuss it more fully? What's your feeling on this, please?
Well, in the chat, and thank you, AJ, as well for the link, and Andrew as well. There is a procedure that's already in the chat, so we have something to look at. I'm of the opinion that we need to have a little more of a discussion, because if we're gonna give it to a committee, then what committee should that be? Is it public safety, or is it the piece of the housing that has economic development, or we do it as an executive committee? I don't know, I just, they're all good ideas, and I just think we need to flesh this out a little more.
All right, do you want to do that tonight at the next meeting, or send it to a committee to flesh out a little more? What's your feeling?
As the chair, I think we need to discuss this a little further.
Yes, but where do we want?
Everybody has different opinions and different takes on this. I think there should be a separate meeting with the members with all the members to see how we all feel and where to piece this properly, so that everybody's on the same page. And
Okay.
for transparency purposes, we all come to a full agreement as a board.
All right, so Yahira, at the general board meeting next week, before then, can we set a date for a meeting to discuss this more fully?
And then
Invite all the board.
Next week will be general, and we'll have a packed agenda.
No, I don't mean to discuss it next week, just to say we are planning a meeting.
Oh, yeah, we can say that we can work out a date in May.
In
where
May
all the board-
sometime, right.
Where all the members can have a discussion as to this matter.
And I think I think we need to provide the board members with the link and what is currently in the law.
We will get all that information directly from the city and the BP's office to make sure that we have everything ready to go.
Okay, great.
But you gotta remember, we also abide by the BP's rules, so we have to see what they allow us to do and not to do.
Okay, yes, I agree.
But we were just told by Carla that this board chooses to do it this way.
Understood.
Right,
but
so
we
all
also want to
community
make sure
boards
that we have
handle
everything.
things very differently.
Right, so I'm of the opinion that it should be, this is why the executive board exists. So we should come to a conclusion on it at the executive level, not as a full board level.
Okay, so
It should really be, this is why we should be using the time to discuss these issues, and procedure is an executive issue.
okay, what about if we use the next couple of weeks before the next exec meeting to check on some of the information from the borough president's office and whatever, and put it on the agenda again for the next exec meeting, and then make a decision that night? Eric?
I
No?
agree with you, Barbara, yes.
Okay,
I support that, Barbara. I think we should designate, it sounds like Jahida and Carla are going to spearhead this, but I think we should designate a few folks that are gonna look up, like, what do other boards do, so that we have proposals to look through, and then we can discuss it. Just opining and not really formalizing a process.
all right, so we'll do a little research between now and the next exec meeting, and we would like this on the agenda for next month, and we will discuss it and vote on it then. Is that all right?
If I can ask, would everyone be okay with starting maybe 15 minutes earlier? Would that help?
Regarding what?
Regarding a discussion on this, well, it will be next month, so I mean, it'll be part of our executive committee agenda. Because I don't think it's gonna go on forever. If we do a little research, we can present the research and send it out to one another before the meeting. and then discuss it as an item on the agenda.
The agenda for the next executive committee meeting?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
okay, fine, all
All
right.
right, we have some hands up. Go ahead, Edgar. We can't hear you.
I just think as you stated, we basically should shelve this for now, right? Until we get the appropriate information, both from the borough president's office, state liquor authority, the agencies involved in this. Because we just need to look at the rules in general. What do we need? What are we supposed to be doing? And then we can figure out better what we need to do.
No, good.
So I think we should shelve it until the next meeting, as you said, so we can, with the proper information, get the proper vote done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Andrew?
I just don't know if we should be spending the time. I think it is really important, but there's a practical reality, and I'm going to read directly from the state liquor license website. As a practical matter, renewing a liquor license is a ministerial function. This is a quote. Nearly all renewal applications that are complete and sent to the authority before the expiration date are renewed, period. That's all.
Yes, but I know if there are problems, there is still time for boards and the police department and whomever else to put in complaints.
Right.
It's not written in stone. All right, I'm going to move the agenda because it's getting late. We're down to committee reports. Please limit your report to 2 minutes. All right, we'll start with budget personnel. You're on, Andrew. Did we lose him? Andrew,
I'm sorry.
you're on for your committee report.
Oh, sorry, I just zoned out. The committee, no report because the committee didn't meet this month, but we will be meeting next week on Thursday, April 27th at 6:30 p.m. to discuss the board's internal budget.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to education, youth, and libraries. Lurie?
Hello, we have met yet. We will meet on Monday, and we have a jam-packed agenda with folks from the DOE's Office of Family and Community Engagement, Advocates for Children, ACS, and others. That is all.
Okay, thank
I
you.
have a question for Lourdes.
Go ahead.
Lourdes, has anybody from St. Brendan's School approached the board? I mean, we know that the Archdiocese is the Archdiocese, but any requests? I've seen signs in the neighborhood about Save Our School, and I'm just wondering if anyone has approached the board about a letter of support or something. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, nobody directly from St. That's cool.
Brendan. Yeah.
Brendan, I'm sorry, has approached me, but there was a parent who shared a petition at
Okay.
my committee meeting. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
And Betty, they reached out to the office, but just to notify us that they were closing the school. And I did reach out to them to invite them to the education committee meeting, and I never got a response.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Betty, do you have anything to report on your?
Just that we went through, there's going to be a safe disposal event at Orchard Beach on April 29th. You can bring all sorts of, you'll see the link on my minutes for that event. And we continue, anyone who has outstanding water bills still have until April 30th to apply for the amnesty program, both at the state and city levels. There are some upcoming RAD Academy trainings. I just saw recently, I got an email of some updated dates for May. Some are in person and some are virtual, and we still are under discussion about how we would be able to host such an event ourselves. We went through our capital expense budget request. I will be putting into my minutes some of the issues that board members raised. And the next meeting will be May 2nd.
Okay, thank you. Health and Human Services, Michelle?
Thanks, Barbara. So the committee met earlier this week and also reviewed the agency response to our expense request. Wanted to note that there is some committee discussion about services available for seniors and wanting to circle back to DFTA, the Department for the Aging, to see what programs they can expand or make us aware of so that we can make our seniors aware of, specifically around crime prevention. And so there's a lot of interest on the committee to again, just bring resources for seniors, understanding that they are underserved in this community. There was also discussion in my committee about just preparing for the summer quality of life issues related to rats and garbage cans. So I just wanted to use this space to say that to Barbara and Betty. You know, there is a lot of concern about the lack of garbage cans on Moshulu, lack of garbage cans across the district. And also, you know, Betty, we've been talking about doing something for rats, but just really wanting to take some action on that so that we can make our neighborhoods a little cleaner. So that, yeah, that was pretty much. Oh, NCB also said that they are going to do some capital, like a facelift for the exterior of the building. So they will be putting up some scaffolding. I'm going to reach out to Alfredo Jones, who was there to present, to ask if he could pass along that information so that our board staff could also share it publicly.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. We'll move on to housing, land use, and economic development. Eric?
We had a presentation from EDC about the third workshop that was held at Lehman College about the uses for the armory. And they are continuing the process with probably issuing the RFP in late summer.
Good. Thank you. Parks, Recreation, Cultural Affairs. We had a representative from the Million Trees program, as well as an update on the Van Cortlandt Park pedestrian bridge. Of course, as we approach the warmer weather, we are very anxious to find out how many park workers our district will have. We're still waiting to hear on that. So we will follow up at our next meeting with that information. All right, we'll move on to public safety and quality of life. Victor, did he arrive? No. Anybody from Victor's committee who would like to give us a little information on what went on? No? All right. Traffic and transportation, Edgar.
Good evening. Basically, we had our meeting in April. We didn't have any of the city agencies or state agencies show up. Our next meeting will be on May 4th. Hope everyone joins us. We hope to have our MTA, our MTA rep on that call, hopefully.
Thank you, Edgar. Veterans Affairs, Chad.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So we had a presentation from someone from a Wish a Wholeness company, from Ms. Pascal Pierre. She wants to promote veterans getting more activity, getting in shape and promoting wellness. We also had a presentation from, excuse me, Dr. Michael Turman from Weill Cornell, where we continue to advocate for mental health resources for our veterans. 3 events coming up: Bronx Victory Memorial flagging events, which we tentatively have for the 20th, is actually going to be on May 13th at 11. I hope the weather is wonderful and we invite everyone to attend. We also have the flagging at the Woodlawn Cemetery on the 24th of May, which is on a Wednesday. That'll start at 10. Anyone who's a member of the public, they're welcome to attend. Wanted to give folks an opportunity to show some respect for our fallen heroes. And our June Veterans Meeting will take place in the form of the Veterans Resource Fair, June 3rd, which is a Saturday, at the Fordham Library. Our next meeting is going to be May 17th. We did go over some of the capital and expense budget matters. There was one that we submitted that was veterans related, and our committee members, including myself, had an objection to the response where we advocated for resources for telemedicine, dental screening and all. The response mentions reach out to the VA. We didn't agree with the response because the VA is a separate entity, and we were clearly quoting the scripts from the city departments where we deemed this as a health-related issue. Other than that, this concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a hand up, Edgar.
Sure.
Yes, thank you. Basically, one of the members of our committee was asking if anyone's noticing any problems at the schools referencing parking and parking zones for teachers, for buses and stuff like that. Just informationally, I guess maybe let Carla know if there's a problem at a specific school or site, so we can try to address it. I'm gonna put that same request at the full board meeting. I just gotta figure out how to do it. What's the proper way of doing it? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Edgar, because I know parking is a major concern in the community.
May I ask a clarifying question on that?
Go ahead.
So Edgar, are you talking about complaints from pedestrians or drivers or the community at large? Just to be clear.
I guess it would be from school staff. Do they find they have enough parking, not enough parking? Has any parking been restricted and or taken away? Anything, I guess, in that perspective.
Got you. I got you. Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We will move on to the ad hoc bylaws committee. I think we completed the work. Maybe Jahira can tell us where we are with the bylaws.
Yes, Barbara. So we finished the bylaws. They'll be ready to go. More than likely it'll be tomorrow. They'll be sent out by the staff. You will receive two attachments. One is the old bylaws and one is the new one. For comparison, if anyone has questions or has any comments, you can always email me and the staff, as well as Myrna, who's the chair, and we will take a look at it. And then we will add this to the agenda, either for, I don't think it's going to give enough time for this general, but for the next exec, everyone can come back, and if they have questions or comments, we can take a look at it there, and then we can put it for a vote at the general in May. That's where we stand with that.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on. Our next meeting date is May 18th. As far as discussion on next month's agenda, I'm sure we'll have a discussion on the bylaws and certainly on the liquor licenses.
Also, Barbara, I'd like to add something to that. I should have added it to the new business. So we have a nominating committee set up for the June elections.
Oh.
So that committee has been set up. The members are Sandra Erickson, Eric Asensio, Helene Red. Give me one more second. I have the list here. Sorry. Tasha Andrews, Sandra Erickson, Eric Asensio, Helene Red, and Myrna Calderon.
Okay,
And
and
this-
elections or nominations will be when? At the May
The
meeting?
nominations will be taken on the floor in May, and then the vote will take place in June.
June, okay, good, thank you. So you'll announce that, I'm sure, at the general meeting, right?
Yes, I will.
Very good. Any other issues you'd like to see on the agenda for next month's meeting? Or the exec meeting?
I just want to raise, I don't know necessarily for the meeting, but I just wanted to bring up three things, even four, just to, for Edgar, Sirio Guarino made some issue about the temporary bus stop at, on Webster and 204th Street.
Yes,
It had to be moved north because of the construction that's going on at a building further south. But that's the side that also has the outdoor structure for the restaurant. The Nueva Estrella restaurant has a outdoor piece there, so the sidewalk has been narrowed. It also has the kiosks for the tickets and other stuff. And so it's an issue when it's been temporarily placed north of that, next to the deli. When they put garbage out, it's difficult for anyone who is disabled to be able to either to board or to get off the bus there. And so he raised that, and I believe Eric Dinowitz was going this afternoon to do like a walkthrough to see what's going on. I raised the issue of possibly removing one of the restaurant's outdoor structures, because they have a structure on Webster and they have a structure on 204th Street, neither of which are ever fully used at any given time. So I would recommend that one of them be removed and open up that sidewalk a little more. But definitely that was something that was brought up. So I don't know if that'll, I think I copied you on my response to Sirio. I know that I copied Carla, I believe I copied you, Edgar, as well. So I don't know what'll become of that. So
okay,
that's just
yes, I agree with you, Betty. It is not a great area to walk through. You have to almost go out on the road to get through, and then there's a construction site just below it.
right. But with a temporary stop is that it's just as bad, because when the deli puts out their garbage, it takes up the, there's like no place to walk, and then there are cars parked. So it's like there's really no place to walk. The cars disregard, I guess, the bus stop sign, and sometimes park, they just leave very little room for anyone to get off, let alone someone who's in a wheelchair or someone with children in strollers or whatever. So that's one thing. I did just want to raise very quickly, and I'll probably, just send an email. I have just three things. I don't know where this is going to go. We're having a problem with someone is dumping garbage at the intersection of Decatur and 204th Street. It has been done 3 times in the last 2 weeks. Sanitation has removed it. I mean, it's considerable garbage. It looks like household garbage. It's not from the furniture store that's right in front of it. I went by, it was most of the garbage was removed 2 days ago. And when I walked by this morning, there was more garbage. I mean, lots of it. And I don't know where it's coming from. So I've been in touch with DSNY. I think they either have to post someone there to see who is doing this, whether it's coming from a nearby building or someone is actually bringing garbage from somewhere else and dumping it there. There's no trash can. And just to go to your point, Michelle, both parks and the sanitation department, they sometimes do not want to put trash cans because people tend to use them for their household goods. And that's why the parks has removed a lot of the trash cans off the parkway, to our dismay. And I agree that we need to figure out something, but people were using those trash cans to take their garbage from across the street and putting it in there. And that's what's been happening with DSNY. They will remove trash cans. In this case, they removed one from that corner of 204th and Decatur on the north, I think it's going to say the northwest side. And it's now someone is dumping bags, garbage bags of garbage there.
Betty, are there any cameras on that corner from any of the stores?
From what there is a camera right in front of the laundromat, but I'm not sure if it's an operational. I mean, I think the NYPD puts up some dummy cameras, I think, at times to try to, I guess, deter, but I don't think that's working. So There might be cameras from, I don't think they're all stores, and there's a barber shop, there's a furniture store, there's a 24-hour store, and the laundromat. I don't think they have cameras outside, but we definitely have to do something about that.
Okay, thank you.
The other-
Go
Right.
ahead.
The other is, I just noticed in my neighborhood, I'm seeing a lot of people cementing over tree pits. You know, tree pits that have not been, that are, they're waiting for trees to be installed, and I'm seeing in some cases, they're cementing over them. So we're gonna have to go through those. I know that Elizabeth shared, I have a site where where trees have been planted throughout the year. So I'm going to go through that and see where I find cemented, newly cemented tree pits and what trees should have been there to make a note of that. So I'm gonna work on that with Serial. And the last thing is I have a big concern about these motorbikes. We all hate them, I do, regardless of whether it makes you get your delivery faster, whatever. I don't think the majority, I don't think the people who are delivering are as egregious as the people who are using them for personal use. My biggest concern is that I see them with children sitting in the front and children in the back. I was appalled to see a child that she didn't look more than 5 or 6 years old, hugging her dad while he had a younger child sitting in front of him. I just think we just have to do something, statewide, citywide. These things are dangerous, totally dangerous. So there have been a couple of children who have died as a result, and people have been hurt. So I think I'm just putting it out. I'm really fed up with these motorbikes.
Right, all over the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So, yeah. So,
Okay, thank you, Betty, for your concerns. Any other issues anybody would like to bring up?
Yeah, I have.
Go
one-
ahead, Hugo.
I have a suggestion since I have most of the committee chair people here. And it's like everybody here has been a new board member at a certain point, and I'm sure there's been a learning curve. My suggestion is very simple on the committee notices, on the agendas, to fully spell out the names of agencies. You could put the acronym right after it, but fully put the name of the agency, because a lot of people don't know what it is. I mean, I see other committees' agendas, and I don't know what they're talking about, what agency, and it should not be a burden on the reader to have to look up what the acronyms are. I think it's something that could be easily addressed. That's just my opinion. I just want to make sure I put it out there. Thank you.
Good suggestion, Hugo. Thank you. All right, anything else anybody wants to raise before we close for the evening? I want to thank everybody for their patience. It was a long agenda, but we did accomplish much tonight. And I'm waiting now for a motion to close the meeting. We're meeting again, I guess, Tuesday night online. Oh, before we go, Jade, has there been any proclamation about extending the online meetings? Because I believe
No.
Nothing yet?
No, nothing yet. If we do get something, hopefully it'll be by tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, good night, everybody. Do we have a motion to close the
Move
meeting?
to adjourn the meeting.
Thank
Check.
you. Somebody second that?
The higher seconds.
All right, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Everybody, take care. Your hire
night.
feel better.